Plato is telling us a great civilization was destroyed in a global cataclysm of flood 11,600 years ago. He's laughed at by all academics and historians. But then geology comes along, and lo and behold, what do we find? 11,600 years ago is a truly cataclysmic episode in geological history.
I mean, it's just crazy. We've talked about, alternative theories to how the pyramids were built.
Yeah. I'm willing to accept that the Great Pyramid was largely completed by the ancient Egyptians. But remember that the ancient Egyptians tell us in many of their texts that everything they knew was a legacy. It was all an inheritance of the gods, and
Right.
I don't construe the gods as aliens.
Beneath the sands of modern-day Sudan and southern Egypt lies the story of a civilization whose architectural prowess rivaled that of the ancient Egyptians, the Nubians.
I think we're looking at hints and clues that something is missing in our story.
Known for constructing more pyramids than their northern neighbors, the Nubians created a kingdom of extraordinary wealth, culture, and power. But as the tides of history shifted, their grand structures were gradually reclaimed by the desert, and their story obscured by the sands of time.
I want to know what else is going to be found that hasn't been investigated yet at all. We're just touching the edge of a huge mystery.
Where did this great civilization go? And what secrets do their ancient cities and towering pyramids still hold? The Nubian civilization, nestled along the Nile River in what is now Sudan and southern Egypt, stands as one of Africa's oldest and most fascinating civilizations.
A great civilization that had been destroyed and that had left some survivors who had come to Egypt.
With a history that stretches back to the Neolithic period, Nubia is celebrated for its complex social structure, advanced architectural prowess, and dynamic interactions with ancient Egypt. The story of Nubia's exploration and its archaeological significance unfolds with intriguing depth, particularly when considering its ties to Egypt. During the 19th century, as European powers expanded their reach across Africa, scholars and archaeologists often accompanied colonial expeditions, initially focusing on the pharaonic marvels of Egypt due to their spectacular allure and global fascination. However, these explorers soon ventured into modern-day Sudan, where they uncovered the rich heritage of Nubia.
Yes, there's been some archaeology in the Sahara Desert, but not very much.
Richard Lepsius, a pioneering German Egyptologist, was one of the first to document Nubian antiquities extensively during his Prussian expedition from 1842 to 1845. His meticulous records and sketches provided a detailed overview of Nubian archaeological wealth, charting numerous sites including temples, tombs, and entire settlements previously unknown to the broader scholarly community. Yet these early explorations were not without their challenges. Adventurers faced harsh climates and political instability, and their initial perceptions of Nubia were often clouded by colonial biases, frequently underestimating the sophistication of the Nubian civilization in comparison to their northern neighbors, the Egyptians. Nubia's relationship with Egypt was marked by periods of both conflict and cooperation, with Nubian kings at times dominating Egypt, especially during the 25th dynasty, also known as the Nubian dynasty. This era is crucial for understanding the significant influence Nubians had on Egyptian politics, culture, and religion. Pharaoh Taharqa, a notable ruler of this dynasty, oversaw an era of considerable architectural and cultural achievements, with extensive building projects in both Egypt and Nubia. His contributions in Thebes and Karnak, showcasing a blend of Egyptian and Nubian artistic styles, are particularly well documented. The rediscovery of the Nubian dynasty has been pivotal, highlighting the Nubians not just as conquerors but as integrators who significantly enhanced the Egyptian state's infrastructure and cultural life. Turning our gaze to a broader horizon, comparing Nubia and Mesopotamia offers fascinating parallels. Both civilizations flourished around mighty rivers, the Nile for Nubia and the Tigris-Euphrates for Mesopotamia, providing the fertile ground that supported dense populations and the development of complex societies. Just as Nubia interacted with Egypt, Mesopotamia had dynamic relationships with its neighbors, engaging in both cultural exchanges and military conflicts. Architecturally, while Nubia is renowned for its pyramids and monumental temples, Mesopotamia is credited with the development of ziggurats and the pioneering use of brick as a primary building material. Both regions also developed their writing systems, with cuneiform in Mesopotamia and Meroitic scripts in Nubia, which were vital for administrative, religious, and cultural expressions, remaining crucial for archaeologists and historians in understanding these ancient societies.
If you wish to pass information to a distant future, you wouldn't be smart to just write it down. How can we know that our script is going to be readable by any other culture, let's say 10,000 years in the future?
George Reisner's pioneering archaeological work in Nubia at the beginning of the 20th century has dramatically enhanced our understanding of the ancient kingdom of Kush, shedding light on a civilization that was at various times a rival and a partner to ancient Egypt. As a professor at Harvard University, Reisner was dispatched by the Harvard University Museum of Fine Arts Boston expedition to delve into the historical mysteries of Egypt and Nubia. His investigations in Nubia were among the first to apply scientific archaeological methods in the region, establishing new standards for documenting the excavation process that would influence future archaeological endeavors. One of Reisner's most groundbreaking efforts was his excavation of Kerma, which he identified as a key cultural and political hub of the Kingdom of Kush. This discovery was particularly significant as Kerma's importance had previously been overshadowed by more well-known Egyptian sites. At Kerma, the most striking find was the Defufa, a towering mud brick structure that remains one of the largest and oldest of its kind in the world. Reisner suggested that the Defufa served a religious and possibly administrative function, a topic that continues to spark debate among scholars regarding its specific role. Further excavations at the royal cemeteries in Kerma unearthed a wealth of information about the burial customs of the Kushite elite. The tombs revealed a rich array of grave goods, including pottery, gold, and bronze artifacts, which spoke of a highly sophisticated culture with expansive trade networks. Additionally, evidence of human sacrifices at these sites suggested that the Kushites engaged in complex funerary rituals, underscoring the depth of their religious beliefs. The layout of Kerma, as uncovered by Reisner, indicated a highly organized urban center, complete with residential areas, production centers, and extensive fortifications. This insight provided a new perspective on the urban planning and architectural sophistication of the Kushite civilization, challenging the then prevailing notion that Nubian culture was perpetually subordinate to that of ancient Egypt. Instead, Reisner's findings highlighted the distinctiveness of the Nubian civilization and its ability to influence and control vast territories, including parts of Egypt at various times. Reisner's systematic approach to excavation and his rigorous documentation practices set new benchmarks in the field of archaeology. He was a pioneer in using stratigraphy for dating purposes, which allowed for a more accurate understanding of the chronological sequence of the sites he excavated. The legacy of his work continues to serve as a foundational resource for subsequent research on Nubia, inspiring generations of archaeologists to further explore the complexities of Nubian history and its interconnections with other ancient civilizations. As we continue to unravel the intricacies of this ancient society, Reisner's contributions remain invaluable, providing a robust framework for understanding not only Nubia's past, but also the broader narratives of ancient world histories. The rediscovery of Nubian pyramids and the archaeological efforts to save Nubian heritage in the wake of the Aswan High Dam's construction have provided profound insights into this ancient civilization.
Archaeology is often driven by accidental finds. Maybe a road is going to be built, maybe a railway is going to be built. A lot of archaeological discoveries are made as a result of that.
Nubian pyramids offer a stark contrast to their Egyptian counterparts. These structures are characterized by their steep and narrow sides and much smaller bases, ranging from approximately 6 to 30 meters across, unlike Egypt's Great Pyramid of Giza, which spans over 230 meters at its base. Constructed with stepped courses of horizontally laid stone blocks, Nubian pyramids typically feature a small chapel at the base facing east, housing offerings and a stele with inscriptions about the deceased. The burial practices within these pyramids reveal a lot about the Nubians. These pyramids were not just final resting places, but also a testament to the wealth and power of the Kushite royalty and elites, reflecting a hierarchy and religious practices influenced by, yet distinct from, Egyptian traditions. Moreover, the art and hieroglyphic inscriptions on the walls of these pyramids offer critical insights into the religious beliefs and daily life of the Kushites, often including prayers and spells similar to those found in Egyptian texts, but adapted to local contexts and deities, highlighting the syncretic nature of Nubian religion. Continuing on the theme of comparisons, looking at Nubian and Mayan pyramids side by side offers fascinating insights. Both civilizations built pyramids, yet their purposes and designs reflect different cultural priorities and environmental conditions. Nubian pyramids, primarily serving as tombs for royalty, featured steep sides and narrow bases and were constructed of stone. In contrast, Mayan pyramids, often broader and less steep, served primarily religious purposes, hosting rituals and sacrifices at their summits, often accessible via a series of steps.
If you have a relatively short time frame to deal with, then searching for a lost civilization becomes much more complex and much more difficult. But if you have a very long time frame to deal with, there's much more material to investigate.
Was the city of Petra always known as Petra? From the Bible, we learn that the oldest name for Petra is Seir.
Beneath the rose-red cliffs of Petra, an ancient city carved into sandstone holds mysteries that have puzzled scientists for centuries.
First organization of human beings that deserved to be called a civilization.
Recent discoveries in this lost city have surprised experts, challenging our understanding of ancient civilizations. As shadows reveal new celestial alignments on the grand facades and columns during the equinox, we are left wondering, what secrets do the stones of Petra still hold?
I don't think we're looking at coincidence here. There's too much going on. I think coincidence is a very weak explanation for what's happening.
The story of Petra, often called the Lost City, stretches back to as early as the 4th century BCE, when it was founded and rose to prominence by the 1st century BCE as the capital of the Nabatean kingdom. Nestled in the cliffs of vibrant red, white, pink and sandstone, Petra was at the heart of a bustling trade empire. Its strategic location on the spice trade routes connected it with far-flung regions from China and India to southern Arabia, and on to Egypt, Syria, Greece and Rome.
You go to Egypt and you'll find influence of the Nabateans. Everywhere we look, we find some reference at some time to the Nabateans.
The city thrived not just commercially but culturally and architecturally, demonstrating advanced techniques in water conservation. Its engineers crafted an intricate system of dams, cisterns and water channels that sustained both the city's population and its agriculture through harsh desert conditions. However, following its annexation by Rome in 106 CE, Petra began to experience a slow decline. Initially, it flourished under Roman influence, but as trade routes shifted towards the sea and devastating earthquakes struck in the 4th and 6th centuries, the city gradually lost its former glory. By the time the Islamic conquests swept through in the 7th century, Petra was reduced to a shadow of its former self, mainly inhabited by a few local Bedouin tribes who lived among the ruins and closely guarded its secrets. Throughout the Middle Ages and well into the 18th century, Petra remained enveloped in obscurity, particularly to the Western world. The Crusaders controlled the region briefly in the 12th century and even established a fortress there, but knowledge of Petra's once grandeur was limited to local tribes and a few knowledgeable Arab scholars. The renowned 14th century explorer Ibn Battuta mentioned Petra during his travels, describing it as a remote place with buildings impressively carved into rock faces. This period in Petra's history mirrors that of another ancient city, Machu Picchu in Peru, which also remained hidden from Western awareness until its rediscovery in 1911 by Hiram Bingham. Both cities were advanced in manipulating their natural environments, Petra with its sophisticated water management systems, and Machu Picchu with its terraced fields and intricate urban planning. The prolonged European ignorance of Petra lasted until the 19th century, with the region fading into the realm of myth and legend. Many in Europe were completely unaware of Petra's existence, despite ancient texts hinting at the architectural marvels that lay hidden in the Jordanian mountains. This mystery persisted until explorers reintroduced Petra to the Western world, bridging the gap between ancient lore and modern recognition. Johann Burckhardt, born in 1784, was a Swiss traveler and scholar whose profound curiosity and academic prowess led him to significant contributions towards the Western understanding of lost or lesser-known ancient sites. Mastering multiple languages and immersing himself in various cultures, Burckhardt developed a particular fascination with Petra, an ancient city whose whereabouts had slipped from European knowledge. In preparation for his explorations within the Ottoman Empire, Burckhardt relocated to London in 1806, where he joined the African Association, an organization committed to the exploration and mapping of Africa. He further honed his expertise at Cambridge University, studying Arabic, geography, and the cultures of the Middle East. It was here that he meticulously constructed his alter ego, Sheikh Ibrahim ibn Abdallah. This identity was not just a cover to mask his European roots and exploratory motives, it was a deep dive into cultural assimilation, allowing him safer passage and a more authentic experience in predominantly Muslim territories. Burckhardt's journey to Petra began in 1812, framed as a pilgrimage to sacrifice at the tomb of the prophet Aaron on Mount Hor, which cleverly concealed his true intent to locate and document Petra. He had pieced together clues of the lost city from discussions with local traders and vague references in ancient manuscripts. His travels from Syria to the Arabian Peninsula were fraught with challenges, from regional conflicts to the unforgiving desert landscape, yet his guise as an Islamic scholar provided him crucial cover. Upon his arrival in Petra, Burckhardt was met with the breathtaking view of the Sikh, a narrow gorge stretching over a kilometer, flanked by towering walls as high as 80 meters. This passage led him to Petra's most famous and enigmatic structure, Al-Khazne, or the Treasury. Carved directly into the blush-colored sandstone cliffs, its facade displayed an exquisite blend of Nabatean, Greek, and Roman architectural elements. Petra's entrance, known as the Sikh, is far more than just a gateway. It's an architectural wonder in its own right. This narrow gorge, carved directly from the towering sandstone cliffs, stretches for about 1.2 kilometers and varies in width from a mere 3 to 16 meters. As you walk through, the walls, which soar to heights of over 80 meters, dramatically frame your approach, guiding you towards the heart of Petra, ending at the magnificent Al-Khazne. Along the Sikh, you'll notice a series of ancient water channels, a testament to the Nabateans' advanced hydraulic engineering skills. They devised these systems to capture and conserve the scarce desert rainwater. The strategic narrowness of the Sikh also offered a natural defense mechanism, much like the historic pass of Thermopylae in Greece, providing a fortified barrier against potential invaders. At the end of the Sikh stands Al-Khazne, or the Treasury, which, despite its name, was likely built as a mausoleum or temple around the 1st century CE. This iconic structure is renowned for its stunning facade, decorated with a blend of Hellenistic architectural elements and native Nabatean motifs. It features a grand portico supported by 6 Corinthian columns and is adorned with intricate bas-reliefs, including depictions of Castor and Pollux, twin brothers who were revered in mythology for their role in protection and safety. The urn perched atop the facade fueled local legends, with Bedouins believing it concealed ancient treasures, hence the name the Treasury. This blend of myth and architecture draws parallels to the ornately decorated temples of the Egyptian pharaohs, which were also rich in cultural and mythological significance. Petra's architectural landscape is a rich mosaic of influences, reflecting its historical significance as a cultural and trading hub. The city's structures blend Nabatean rock-cut artistry with classical Greek, Roman, and later Byzantine styles. This fusion is visible not just on the facades but throughout the city's layout, which includes a Roman-style colonnaded street and a theatre capable of holding over 3,000 spectators. Carved directly from the rock, Petra's theatre echoes the design of ancient Greek theatres such as Epidaurus, yet it is uniquely Nabatean in its execution, showcasing their extraordinary skill in stone carving. This architectural diversity highlights the city's role as a melting pot of various civilizations throughout history, each leaving their mark on its stones and streets. Among the monumental structures in Petra, the monastery known as Ad-Dair stands out for its architectural splendor akin to that of the Treasury, yet it occupies a more secluded and solemn location. The journey to reach the monastery is an adventure in itself, involving a challenging climb of over 800 steps carved directly into the rock, which naturally limits the number of casual tourists who visit. Originally constructed as a Nabatean temple in the 3rd century BCE, the structure was later repurposed as a Christian chapel during the Byzantine period. Its facade, adorned with a massive urn and framed by towering columns, rivals the grandeur of the Parthenon in Athens. However, the isolation of the monastery adds a layer of spiritual retreat, contrasting with the civic pride of the Parthenon. Petra's allure as a mysterious and adventurous location was catapulted into popular culture by its appearance in the film Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. The movie features Petra's treasury as the fictional entrance to the final resting place of the Holy Grail, which not only captured the imaginations of viewers worldwide, but also significantly boosted tourism to the site. This depiction in the film perfectly aligned with the themes of discovery and exploration, underscoring how media can dramatically shape the perception and economic realities of archaeological sites.
And weirdly, up there near Cuzco, we have this curious stonework, and we also have it at Catal Hoyuk in Turkey. Exactly the same kind of thing. Is this a coincidence? Or is there something going on behind the scenes of history that we've not been fully informed about yet?
Imagine a time long before the majestic pyramids of Egypt ever touched the sky, a time when early humans were just beginning to leave their mark on the earth. Nestled in the rugged landscapes of southeastern Turkey lies Göbekli Tepe, an awe-inspiring archaeological site that predates Egypt's ancient wonders by over 6,000 years. Uncovered less than a century ago, Göbekli Tepe challenges everything we thought we knew about the dawn of civilization, suggesting that the blueprint for advanced human societies was drawn up not in the shadow of towering pyramids, but within the mysterious stone circles of the world's first temple. Göbekli Tepe's strategic location in the Jermis mountain range not only offers a stunning panoramic view of the expansive Harran Plain below, but at an altitude of about 760 meters, it also provides a naturally defensible position. This area is historically significant, having played a key role in the dawn of human civilization. The site was first encountered in 1963 during a survey by Istanbul University and the University of Chicago, but its true importance wasn't immediately understood. At that time, archaeological methods primarily focused on identifying sites that showed obvious signs of settlement or fortification. Göbekli Tepe, with its large, freestanding stone structures that lacked any residential or defensive characteristics, did not meet these criteria. The visible limestone slabs, enormous and roughly worked, were mistaken for natural formations or primitive grave markers rather than elements of an advanced structure. This led to its initial dismissal as a site of medieval or even older graves without further investigation. Moreover, there was a cultural bias towards sites that could be linked to known historical narratives or civilizations, and Göbekli Tepe's carvings and constructions did not immediately suggest any connections with the well-documented Mesopotamian cities or other known ancient cultures of the region. The site's fortunes changed in 1994 when Klaus Schmidt, an archaeologist known for his expertise in Neolithic sites, revisited the overlooked mounds. Schmidt, having previously worked at Navali Sori, a site with similar, albeit less sophisticated T-shaped pillars, recognized the potential significance of Göbekli Tepe's unique pillars. He saw that these were unlike anything found in Neolithic settings at that time. Starting in 1995, Schmidt directed systematic excavations with a meticulous approach aimed at understanding the cultural context of the site, rather than just cataloguing its artifacts. He proposed that the monumental stones were part of early ritualistic practices, a theory that shifted the narrative of prehistoric research. Following Schmidt's death in 2014, the excavation and research at Göbekli Tepe have continued under the guidance of the German Archaeological Institute and the Sanliurfa Museum. Their ongoing efforts have been crucial in piecing together the site's complex use over time. An often drawn comparison is between Göbekli Tepe and Stonehenge in England. While both are megalithic structures from the Neolithic period, Stonehenge, which was built around 3000 to 2000 BC and features astronomical alignments, is significantly younger than Göbekli Tepe, which dates back to around 9600 BC. This nearly 6,500-year difference highlights Göbekli Tepe's place as one of the oldest temple complexes ever discovered, suggesting that the capabilities and cultural practices of early Neolithic societies were far more advanced than previously believed. Unlike Stonehenge, which served as both a burial ground and for celestial alignments, Göbekli Tepe appears to have been used purely for ritualistic purposes, with no evidence of permanent settlements or burials. This indicates that monumental religious structures could have predated settled agricultural life, challenging previous assumptions about societal development during the Neolithic era. Radiocarbon dating at Göbekli Tepe offers a captivating look into the early Neolithic period, identifying it as one of the earliest examples of monumental architecture. The site began construction around 9600 BCE, at the close of the Pleistocene epoch, a time marked by significant climatic changes that likely spurred the development of agriculture and more settled societies. This transition from a hunter-gatherer existence to agrarian life is pivotal in understanding human evolution. Göbekli Tepe wasn't built overnight. It evolved through multiple construction phases over centuries. Each phase tells a story of different eras and uses, reflecting varied ceremonial or social functions. Signs of intentional burials of earlier structures at the site suggest complex ritualistic behavior, hinting at a sophisticated understanding of religious or cultural practices. The architecture of Göbekli Tepe is both monumental and unprecedented for its time. The site is composed of multiple enclosures, each centered around T-shaped pillars arranged in circular and rectangular layouts. This suggests an early form of architectural planning, aimed clearly at serving ceremonial or ritualistic purposes. The pillars themselves are believed to represent human figures, as evidenced by carvings of arms and hands, suggesting they portrayed deities or ancestors. In addition to the anthropomorphic pillars, Göbekli Tepe is adorned with a variety of motifs. Dynamic and realistic depictions of animals such as foxes, lions, scorpions, vultures, and cranes suggest a deep familiarity with the local fauna. These carvings, alongside abstract and geometric symbols like concentric circles and zigzag patterns, may have held spiritual or cosmological significance. Human figures also appear in the carvings, often emphasized with exaggerated features such as arms or belts, possibly representing mythical figures or ancestors. These motifs were likely central to the site's function as a ritual center, with animal depictions possibly serving as clan totems or spiritual protectors. Göbekli Tepe is known to house more than 20 temples, although only a few have been fully excavated. The use of ground-penetrating radar and other survey methods has identified these structures, but limited excavation has been intentional to preserve the site's integrity and allow for ongoing research with advancing technologies. The construction of such massive and intricate structures would have required a highly organized effort, likely involving communities from across the region. This suggests a level of social organization and cooperation previously not attributed to societies of that era. This continued effort to understand Göbekli Tepe helps us not only preserve its historical significance, but also gradually unlocks the secrets of our ancestors' way of life, providing invaluable insights into the dawn of human civilization. Catal Hoyuk, another Neolithic site in Turkey, provides a fascinating contrast to Göbekli Tepe. Dating back to around 7100 BCE, Catal Hoyuk is regarded as one of the world's first urban centers, known for its densely packed cluster of houses without streets, where entry was typically through the roofs. Unlike Göbekli Tepe, which seems to have served exclusively ceremonial purposes with no signs of permanent settlements, Catal Hoyuk was very much a lived-in community. This distinct difference underscores the varied aspects of Neolithic life, illustrating Göbekli Tepe as a center for ritual and gathering, while Catal Hoyuk represents aspects of domestic life and urban organization. The discovery of Göbekli Tepe has profoundly impacted our understanding of early human societies and their development. Traditionally, it was believed that significant architectural projects emerged only after the onset of agriculture, when societies became more sedentary and had the resources to build complex structures. However, Göbekli Tepe challenges this notion by suggesting that such large-scale constructions might have predated and even possibly encouraged the development of agriculture. The site's need to assemble large groups for rituals or communal activities might have been a catalyst for innovations in food production and storage, accelerating the shift towards agricultural societies. An intriguing theory about Göbekli Tepe is its potential use for astronomical observations. Similar to how Stonehenge is aligned with solstices and equinoxes, it is believed that the circular enclosures and T-shaped pillars at Göbekli Tepe might have served as a prehistoric observatory. Such astronomical alignments would have been crucial for tracking seasons, which is an essential element in the transition to agricultural life. Comparing Göbekli Tepe with Easter Island's Moai also offers insights into the role of monumental architecture in ancient societies. Both Göbekli Tepe and Easter Island feature large, stone-built structures with anthropomorphic elements. The Moai statues are thought to represent ancestors overseeing their descendants, much like the T-shaped pillars at Göbekli Tepe may symbolize mythological beings or clan ancestors. The requirement for complex societal coordination to construct these monuments suggests that, despite being worlds apart, both sites served similar functions in their respective societies, facilitating social organization and fulfilling religious or ceremonial needs. This parallel underlines a common thread in human civilization: the use of monumental architecture as a focal point for community and spirituality.
I believe that it's worth considering the possibility of a remote common ancestor, which passed down key information that was inherited by later cultures. I'm willing to accept that the Great Pyramid was largely completed by the ancient Egyptians. But remember that the ancient Egyptians tell us in many of their texts that everything they knew was a legacy.
Imagine stepping back in time, way before the majestic pyramids of Egypt were ever conceived, and finding yourself exploring the Blombos Cave on the southern coast of South Africa. Discovered in the 1990s by Professor Christopher Henshelwood, this cave has turned out to be a treasure trove of artifacts dating back about 100,000 years to the Middle Stone Age, offering a unique glimpse into early human culture.
Are we looking at the traces of a forgotten episode in human history? I think so. I think that's what's going on here.
The variety of artifacts found in Blombos Cave is nothing short of astounding. Among these treasures are some of the earliest known bone tools. These weren't just rudimentary tools, but were delicately crafted, indicating a high level of skill and an advanced understanding of materials long before similar tools appeared in other parts of the world. The sophistication in these tools suggests that early humans were far more advanced than previously thought. But the artifacts don't stop there. The cave has also yielded pieces of ochre engraved with geometric patterns. Far from being mere decorations, these engravings are believed to represent some of the earliest forms of symbolic communication and abstract art, hinting at the complex cognitive abilities of their creators.
There's more and more evidence that cave art that was attributed to Homo sapiens was actually done by Neanderthals.
This ability to think abstractly and to plan suggests a significant leap in human cognitive development, often referred to as the cognitive revolution. Moreover, the discovery of shell beads in the cave points to a culture that valued personal adornment and possibly had social or ritualistic practices involving these items. These beads could have been used in necklaces or bracelets, potentially serving as a form of currency or social stratification. When we compare these ancient engravings to the later, more detailed Lascaux cave paintings in France, a fascinating picture emerges. Although the Lascaux paintings, which date to about 17,000 years ago, are more visually complex, the abstract patterns and use of materials like ochre at Blombos may represent an earlier form of the same cognitive evolution towards symbolic thought and communication. This comparison not only underscores the continuity in human artistic endeavors, but also highlights the depth and richness of human creativity from its very beginnings. These findings from Blombos Cave challenge our previous assumptions about prehistoric humans and provide deep insights into the evolution of human cognition, artistic expression, and social structures. They paint a picture of a complex, nuanced society engaged in sophisticated practices and thought processes long before many other known civilizations. Let's travel from the ancient ingenuity displayed in South Africa's Blombos Cave to another fascinating archaeological site, Catal Hoyuk in south-central Turkey. Discovered by James Mellart in the late 1950s and later excavated by Ian Hodder, Catal Hoyuk has been a goldmine of information about Neolithic urban life, dating back between 9,500 to 7,700 years ago. Covering about 32 acres, Catal Hoyuk isn't your typical ancient city. The settlement was incredibly well planned, with houses made of mud bricks built so close to each other that the roofs served dual purposes: ceilings for the dwellings they topped, and terraces for the adjacent upper levels. This unique architectural style suggests a highly organized society with no clear signs of social stratification, which is pretty unusual for such an early form of urban development. The residents of Catal Hoyuk had a vibrant cultural life, as evidenced by the elaborate frescoes adorning the walls of their homes. These murals, which are among the earliest known examples of narrative art, depict detailed hunting scenes and vultures, providing a window into the community's beliefs, rituals, and the environment around them. Religion appears to have played a central role in daily life at Catal Hoyuk. This is indicated by the numerous figurines and shrines unearthed during excavations, with a notable prevalence of female symbols and figures suggesting potentially matriarchal elements in their social structure. One of the most intriguing theories about Catal Hoyuk is that it might have been an egalitarian society. The uniformity in house size and communal living arrangements support the idea of a proto-communist social order, where there wasn't a significant emphasis on social hierarchy. This is further backed by the absence of grand tombs or palatial structures, which are usually indicative of pronounced social stratification. These comparisons not only highlight the diversity in how early urban societies could be structured and function, but also enrich our understanding of human social evolution. As we delve deeper into these ancient cities, we continue to uncover how our ancestors lived, worked, and formed communities, providing valuable insights into the past that shape our knowledge of human history. The story of the Derinkuyu underground city in Cappadocia, Turkey, reads like something out of a fascinating mystery novel, complete with accidental discoveries and architectural wonders.
It's really important to understand that archaeology is often driven by accidental finds.
Located in a region celebrated for its unique geological features, particularly the soft volcanic rock that has been easily sculpted for millennia, Derinkuyu is the largest of the many underground cities carved into this landscape. Our tale begins in 1963, when an ordinary homeowner in Derinkuyu, known only to a few, decided to make some home improvements. Little did he know that knocking down a wall in his basement would open a door to the past. Behind the wall was a passage that led to a complex network of rooms and tunnels extending deep beneath the earth. What the homeowner had discovered was not a simple series of rooms, but an elaborate subterranean city that stretched down as much as 85 meters and included at least 18 levels. This ancient city wasn't just a refuge, it was a fully functional community with everything from homes and communal gathering places to schools, places of worship, and tombs. When local authorities were alerted to the find, archaeologists rushed to explore this underground marvel. They were astounded to discover that Derinkuyu could have supported as many as 20,000 people along with their animals and stored food. The city's design was remarkably sophisticated, with ventilation shafts that ensured fresh air could reach even the deepest levels, similar to modern-day air conditioning systems. The city's architecture suggested that its creators were not only skilled builders, but also clever strategists. Massive stone doors could be rolled across passageways to seal off the city from invaders, and narrow tunnels would have forced any intruders to enter in single file, making them easier to defend against. Derinkuyu's design is often compared to the labyrinth of Minos from Greek mythology, intended to confuse or trap unwanted guests with its complex layout and her minimal exits. This feature, along with its ventilation and security measures, highlights a level of planning and engineering that parallels the sophistication of certain modern infrastructures. The Altamira cave, nestled in the picturesque Cantabria region of northern Spain, was brought to international attention in 1879 by Marcelino Sanz de Sotuola, who famously declared that its stunning cave paintings were of prehistoric origin. This initial claim faced a great deal of skepticism, but was eventually verified, proving the paintings to be an astonishing 36,000 years old, dating back to the Upper Paleolithic period. Renowned for their vivid depiction of wild mammals and human hands, the paintings of Altamira are celebrated for their vibrant polychrome techniques. Artists of the time utilized an impressive palette created from charcoal, ochre, and hematite to produce colors ranging from deep blacks and yellows to rich reds. These pigments were not just randomly splashed on, but were applied meticulously with tools like fingers, fur pads, or flint tools, pointing to a sophisticated understanding of materials and methods. The subjects of these paintings, mainly bison, horses, and boars, are portrayed with a remarkable sense of movement and dimensionality that is rarely seen in other Paleolithic art. This dynamic portrayal suggests that these creatures were not only important food sources, but also held a significant place in the cultural and spiritual life of the people. The detailed depiction of their anatomy and behavior reflects a deep observational skill and suggests that the artists were highly knowledgeable about their subjects. The realism and artistry of Altamira's cave paintings, especially the famous bison scenes, highlight the painter's extraordinary skills and their keen eye for detail. Some scholars believe that these paintings were used in rituals or shamanistic practices aimed at ensuring a successful hunt or invoking animal spirits, indicating that the cave might have been a place of great spiritual importance. Altamira's artists mastered the art of creating depth and movement through adept shading and contouring, focusing more on realism and possibly the spiritual connection between the human and animal worlds.
Above the King's Chamber in the Great Pyramid are 5 further chambers.
I think the problem is that archaeology doesn't allow that monument to speak for itself.
It is very hard for archaeologists to explain how that was done.
The largest pyramids around the world are remarkable feats of engineering and architecture, embodying the technological advancements of their respective civilizations. Nestled in the region of Puebla, Mexico, before the Spanish conquest, a monumental structure was erected that remains an awe-inspiring testament to the ingenuity and spirituality of the ancient cultures of Mesoamerica. Known as the Great Pyramid of Cholula, translating to Made by Hand Mountain, in Nahuatl, this pyramid stands as the world's largest by volume, with an astonishing volume of approximately 4.45 million cubic meters. It's not only the biggest pyramid globally, but also the largest monument ever constructed by any civilization, ancient or modern. Constructed from the 3rd century BC through the 9th century AD, it served as a multifaceted center of worship and community. Unlike the Egyptian pyramids, which primarily served as tombs for the pharaohs, the Great Pyramid of Cholula was dedicated to the worship of Quetzalcoatl, a major deity associated with the wind, air, and learning. The architectural marvel of the pyramid, with its base measuring 450 by 450 meters and reaching a height of 66 meters, remains mostly hidden under a layer of earth and vegetation, resembling more a natural hill than a man-made structure. This appearance results from centuries of neglect and intentional covering by subsequent cultures, making the pyramid a series of platforms built on top of one another over several generations. This contributed to its immense volume and sprawling base, making it a palimpsest of the diverse cultures, including the Olmeca and others that left their mark on this ancient site. Atop the pyramid stands the Church of Our Lady of the Remedies, a symbol of the Spanish conquest and the forced Christianization of the indigenous population. Constructed in the 16th century, this church represents the visual and symbolic fusion of pre-Hispanic and Spanish colonial periods in Mexico, placed strategically to assert the dominance of Christianity over the pagan religions. An intriguing theory about the pyramid's construction suggests that it was intended to mimic the surrounding mountains, creating a man-made version that could be seen as the center of the universe, or a point of communication between the divine and the earthly. This is supported by its nickname and its orientation, which aligns with the cardinal points and significant celestial events, hinting at a deep astronomical knowledge and spiritual significance. When compared to the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt, which is often celebrated for its precision and scale, the Great Pyramid of Cholula surpasses it in volume and the length of time over which it was constructed. Within the ancient city of Teotihuacan, Mexico, the Pyramid of the Sun stands as a testament to the astonishing architectural capabilities and profound astronomical knowledge of its builders. This majestic structure, erected around 200 CE, is not only the crowning jewel of the Teotihuacan complex, but also ranks among the largest pyramids in Mesoamerica. Its creation, achieved without the modern conveniences of metal tools, wheels, or animal labor, showcases the extraordinary dedication and advanced engineering skills of the Teotihuacan people. With a staggering volume of about 1.2 million cubic meters and soaring to a height of 65 meters, the pyramid's scale is nothing short of awe-inspiring. Its base sprawls over more than 10 acres, a space filled with approximately 3 million tons of stone, meticulously placed by countless hands. The Pyramid of the Sun was far more than an architectural marvel. It was a nexus of cultural and religious significance in one of the largest cities of the ancient world. Teotihuacan, at its zenith, was a bustling metropolis of over 100,000 inhabitants, and the pyramid likely served as a sacred site dedicated to a deity, possibly the sun god. This dedication speaks volumes about the city's cosmology and the pyramid's role not only as a ceremonial center, but also as a possible funerary space. One of the most captivating aspects of the Pyramid of the Sun is its astronomical alignment. Researchers have theorized that the pyramid, along with other structures within the city, was deliberately aligned with the movements of celestial bodies, particularly the sun. Such precise orientation and dimensions of the pyramid may have been designed to mark significant solar events like equinoxes and solstices, integral to the Teotihuacan calendar. This deep understanding of astronomy and its integration into the city's architecture and urban layout underscore the advanced knowledge of the ancient Mesoamericans. When we draw comparisons between the Pyramid of the Sun and the Great Pyramid of Khufu in Giza, Egypt, we find intriguing contrasts and similarities. Although the Pyramid of Khufu stands taller, the Pyramid of the Sun impresses with its broader base and substantial volume, reflecting different architectural ambitions and technological approaches. While the Egyptian pyramid served as a monumental tomb emphasizing the afterlife, the Pyramid of the Sun was more aligned with celestial worship and communal rituals, reflecting the broader cultural and religious landscape of ancient Mesoamerica. Yet both structures manifest the universal human aspiration to connect with the divine, whether in the veneration of gods or in the commemoration of monarchs. Further excavations have unveiled a network of caves and tunnels beneath the Pyramid of the Sun, likely holding ceremonial significance and possibly representing the underworld in Teotihuacan's cosmology. The pyramid's construction technique, featuring the talud tablero architectural style, became a hallmark of Teotihuacan and was replicated across Mesoamerica. Moreover, the city's layout, with the Pyramid of the Sun at its heart, was meticulously planned to align with the cardinal directions, adding another layer to its astronomical and cosmological importance. Moving on to the Great Pyramid of Giza, a masterpiece that has stood the test of time, remains one of the most magnificent and mysterious achievements of ancient Egypt. Constructed during the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, around 2580 to 2560 BC, this pyramid not only serves as a testament to ancient Egyptian grandeur and engineering prowess, but also continues to be a source of fascination for historians, architects, and travelers from all corners of the globe. Originally soaring to a height of 140 meters, it's slightly shorter now, at about 138.8 meters, mainly due to the loss of its outer casing stones and capstone. Nevertheless, it held the title of the tallest man-made structure in the world for over 3,800 years, a record that speaks volumes about the skill and ambition of its creators. What's truly remarkable about the Great Pyramid is the sheer scale of its construction. Its base covers an area of 13 acres, with each side measuring 756 feet, and it was built using approximately 2.3 million blocks of limestone and granite. These blocks, weighing on average 2.5 tons and some as hefty as 80 tons, were precision cut and transported from distant quarries, a feat of logistics and craftsmanship that remains awe-inspiring even today. The precision in the pyramid's construction is almost unparalleled. The base is almost perfectly square, and its alignment with the cardinal points of the compass is extraordinarily accurate. Inside, the pyramid houses 3 main chambers: the King's Chamber, the Queen's Chamber, and the subterranean chamber, connected by narrow passages. The Grand Gallery, leading to the King's Chamber, is particularly striking with its corbelled roof architecture, reaching up to a height of about 28 feet. One of the more intriguing theories about the Great Pyramid is the Orion correlation theory, proposed by Robert Bauval in the 1980s. This theory posits that the layout of the 3 main Giza pyramids mirrors the alignment of the 3 stars in Orion's belt. This celestial mapping, with the constellation Orion associated with Osiris, the god of the afterlife, suggests a profound cosmological and spiritual dimension to the pyramid's design, highlighting the ancient Egyptians' deep connection to the cosmos and the afterlife. Drawing a comparison between the Great Pyramid and the Colosseum in Rome offers an interesting perspective on the architectural achievements of ancient civilizations. Built nearly 2,000 years apart, these structures represent the pinnacle of their respective societies' architectural and cultural aspirations. The Colosseum, a marvel of Roman engineering, was designed as a venue for public entertainment, capable of seating tens of thousands of spectators. In contrast, the Great Pyramid, with its focus on architectural precision, spiritual beliefs, and the significance of the afterlife, exemplifies the ancient Egyptians' engineering genius and spiritual depth. Despite their different purposes, both structures stand as enduring monuments to human ingenuity and the architectural legacy of their creators. Among the many fascinating aspects of the Great Pyramid are the casing stones that once covered it, made of polished white Tura limestone that would have made the pyramid gleam in the sunlight. The temperature inside the pyramid remains a constant 20 degrees Celsius, mirroring the Earth's average temperature. Additionally, the pyramid was originally surrounded by a massive wall, known as the Wall of the Crow, remnants of which still exist today. The techniques used in the construction of the pyramid, especially the method of lifting and placing the stones, continue to be a subject of lively debate and fascination. With its complex cosmology, architectural brilliance, and enduring mystery, the Great Pyramid of Giza continues to inspire and captivate, embodying the rich legacy of ancient Egyptian civilization.
Is it possible that some of the monuments of ancient Egypt are actually much older than the Egyptologists tell us? Now, no modern builder would create a large building and add onto his or her shoulders the additional burden of aligning it to true north within a fraction of a single degree. They just wouldn't get it. They wouldn't understand why it was important to do that.
Droughts often carry a heavy toll on modern economies and ecosystems, yet these challenging times have occasionally peeled back the layers of history to reveal astonishing archaeological finds. One such remarkable discovery is the lost temple of Nectanebo in Egypt. This ancient temple resurfaces periodically as the fluctuating Nile River levels drop during severe droughts, exposing it from beneath the waters where it lay hidden. Located near modern Cairo in the ancient city of Heliopolis, known as Iunu in ancient times, the lost temple of Nectanebo provides crucial insights into the religious and cultural life during the 30th dynasty of Egypt, when Nectanebo Ton ruled from 380 to 362 BC. Heliopolis was not only one of the oldest cities of ancient Egypt, but also a major religious hub, celebrated for its majestic temples and as the center of worship for the sun god Ra. The temple, which is dedicated to the creator god Atum, plays a significant role in understanding the period. Atum was associated with the sun and creation, embodying the cycle of life, which made him a central figure in the religious practices at the time. The temple's strategic location and dedication highlight its immense religious importance. As it periodically emerges from the waters, the temple offers a rare opportunity for historians and archaeologists to explore and document the relics of a time usually hidden beneath the Nile's waters. This occasional visibility not only underscores the temple's archaeological and historical significance, but also highlights the dynamic interaction between natural events and historical discoveries. Now, who was Nectanebo? Nectanebo I is a towering figure in the annals of ancient Egyptian history, celebrated for founding the last dynasty that was purely Egyptian, the 30th dynasty. Before the onslaught of Persian and later Macedonian conquests, his rule from 380 to 362 BC was a pivotal era, marked by a revival of traditional Egyptian culture, ambitious architectural endeavors, and formidable military campaigns. Nectanebo's story begins in the delta region of Egypt in a city called Sebennytos, known today as Samanud. His birth name, which translates to the soul of Re, Lord of Strength. His rise to power was dramatic. Amidst a period riddled with political instability and internal strife, he seized the throne by overthrowing the previous pharaoh, Jedor. This bold move not only marked the end of the 29th dynasty, but also ushered in an era that strongly emphasized a return to Egyptian roots, distancing itself from recent Persian influences. During his reign, Nectanebo was intensely focused on rejuvenating Egypt's economy and reviving the rich tapestry of traditional religious practices that had been overshadowed during periods of foreign dominance. He was not only a devout builder of temples, but also a generous patron of the arts. Across Egypt, from Heliopolis to Hermopolis, he commissioned the construction and restoration of numerous temples dedicated to various deities, infusing life into these sacred spaces with elaborate decorations and expansive structures. But Nectanebo was not just a peacetime ruler indulging in cultural and religious enhancements. He was also a strategic military leader, actively defending Egypt against Persian attempts to reconquer it. He strengthened the nation's borders with formidable defensive structures, particularly in the Nile Delta, which played a crucial role in repelling invasions. His diplomatic skills were equally noteworthy. He fostered alliances with Greek city-states and employed Greek mercenaries, which not only bolstered his army but also brought Hellenistic cultural influences to Egypt. His extensive building projects were not merely displays of wealth or power, but were deeply embedded with cultural and religious significance, aimed at reinforcing the pharaonic ideology and divine kingship. The artistic renaissance that flourished during his reign saw a surge in high-quality sculpture and temple decorations, which continue to be admired for their craftsmanship. Reflecting on his legacy, Nectanebo left a lasting impact on Egyptian culture and national identity. His efforts to fortify Egypt's independence and his revival of many cultural practices made him a revered figure in later Egyptian memory, often celebrated as the last great native pharaoh before the long period of foreign dominations. Today, artifacts from his reign, such as statues, temple decorations, and coins, continue to offer rich insights into the period's artistic and religious life, and are subjects of intense study by archaeologists and historians around the world. In a broader historical context, Nectanebo could be compared to figures like the Byzantine Emperor Heraclius, who also endeavored to revive religious and cultural traditions in the face of external threats. This parallel underscores a common theme in history, where leaders often turn to cultural and religious revivalism to forge a collective identity during periods of crisis. Now, moving back to the Lost Temple, the discovery of this ancient marvel is as intriguing as its history. The existence of the temple is most commonly brought to light during times of drought when the Nile's water levels significantly recede. For centuries, the temple was hidden from view, submerged under the silt deposited by the Nile's annual floods, which both obscured and preserved it from the ravages of time and human activity. The first clues about the temple's existence came not from visible remains, but from ancient texts and sporadic local folklore. Archaeologists have long used these snippets of information as breadcrumbs, leading them to its periodic rediscovery whenever nature allowed. It was particularly during the major droughts that have affected the Nile in the late 20th and early 21st centuries that the temple ruins were fully exposed, providing a clearer and more comprehensive view of its layout and allowing for detailed archaeological examinations. To study the exposed parts of the temple, archaeologists have employed a variety of sophisticated techniques. Photogrammetry has been used extensively to capture detailed images of the temple's inscriptions and carvings, allowing experts to create accurate 3D models of the site. Additionally, geographic information system technology has played a crucial role in mapping the layout of the ruins in relation to the ancient river channels, offering insights into the historical changes in the landscape that have occurred over millennia. This combination of ancient lore and modern technology illustrates the dynamic way in which archaeologists are working to unravel the mysteries of the past, preserving its wonders for future generations. The lost temple of Nectanebo, dedicated to the creator god Atum, also known as Temu, holds a place of great reverence in the annals of Egyptian history. Atum's cult, one of the oldest in Egypt, symbolizes both the completion and the beginning of the life cycle and the sun, casting this temple as a key religious site within the Heliopolitan tradition. The strategic placement of this temple in Heliopolis, the epicenter of worship for the sun god Ra and closely linked to Atum, further weaves it into the grand tapestry of solar worship that was central to ancient Egyptian spirituality. The construction of the temple was an architectural feat, utilizing large sandstone blocks intricately carved with hieroglyphs and religious iconography. This choice of material not only ensured the structure's durability, but also allowed for the detailed and extensive carvings that adorn the temple's walls, which tell tales of divine legends and pharaonic glory. Upon closer examination of the exposed ruins during periods when the Nile's waters recede, archaeologists have unearthed the foundation and lower sections of these massive sandstone walls, alongside several statues of Nectanebo decked in royal attire. These statues poignantly illustrate the pharaoh's aspiration to be seen as a divine entity and offer a window into the art and religious life of his time. The myriad of carvings found on the temple walls also provides invaluable insights into the daily religious practices and societal interactions of ancient Egyptians under Nectanebo's rule. The grandeur of the temple not only underscores the religious complexities of Nectanebo's reign, but also reflects the political power and stability he commanded, as only a prosperous and stable ruler could undertake such an ambitious construction project. However, the intermittent visibility of the temple due to changing Nile water levels presents significant challenges for its conservation. The alternating exposure to air and water not only threatens the preservation of this ancient marvel, but also accelerates the deterioration of the stone and inscriptions. Despite these challenges, each period when the temple surfaces provides a crucial opportunity for further study and preservation efforts. Archaeologists and historians are continually aiming to delve deeper into the temple's structure during these windows, hoping to uncover more artifacts and possibly other structures associated with the temple complex that could shed further light on this historic sanctuary. This ongoing exploration and the efforts to safeguard the temple's integrity ensure that each chapter of its exposure helps piece together more of the past, maintaining a bridge to an era that shaped the foundations of modern civilization.